players have started brown AI on the main planet, and as well as Matisse and Elodea, both on the main planet. But let's take a look out here on planet 2. Sure enough, there's an absurd AI out here working on his own, being absurd. So that will be interesting. Uh, I think maybe the players just felt like the starting spots were better on the main planet, but 3 of them end up here, 1 of them out on Marcel, and that is it.
Yeah, and looking at the players now, they haven't teamed up, so obviously they have decided against that option. But it's the same spawns as the game with Squishy Pony and Tatsu surrounding Burnt Custard, whereas in this case it's Elodea who seems to be the piggy in the middle. Going air first, interestingly, getting out straight interceptors straight away. Matisse going vehicle first with a vehicle fab. Following that, whereas the AI seems to be doing some sort of wacky build order.
Yeah.
He's going vehicle first ultimately. And he's going to be able to grab all of that mechs around him, giving him a good amount of economy. Looking back at the players now, Elodea following up with an air fabber. Going to grab a lot of mechs there. He's also spawned in a really dense clump. And I think the spawns are pretty balanced with the mechs, because Matisse also in a large clump and has got pretty decent expansions around him. Whereas Elodea, unfortunately, is going to have to defend on both sides, as you've already mentioned. But, of course, the air fabbers still liable to sniping, but Matisse not yet going air, so they are safe for the time being.
Yeah, so really the thing is that it's the last human standing in this game that will move on. So they could actually just ignore, like, if they discover each other quickly, they could just like run over and punch the other guy and be like, "Woohoo, I win!" And like they can clean up the AI for fun and for the stream. But really, from a goal perspective, that's all they really need to do. And I don't know if I've seen it. Also, another important thing is, did you say piggy in the middle?
I did indeed.
What does that even mean? Is that like some sort of like fancy?
It's a sort of primary
That's
school.
Old English, right?
It's a primary school game whereby you have someone in the middle, known as the piggy, and the 2 people outside have to pass a ball to each other without the person in the middle catching the ball. At which point they would swap with whoever made the blunder and enabling them to catch the ball.
It's keep away.
That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. You guys talk funny over there. Yeah. So we got that. Piggy in the middle situation, and I don't know if Matisse and the brown AI will be passing the ball back and forth around him or not, but and we have scouting by Elodea over the base of Matisse. Now Matisse has learned his lesson from previous matches, I see, by having early anti-air, so yeah, I'd love to see that.
That was probably as a result of his King of the Planet with Clops, who absolutely went air really hard, lots and lots of bombers. Whereas Matisse this time is not going to be fooled by any possible bomber snipes and going air third. Not air third, well, yes, air third, but he did go air second there. That I made a mistake.
Elodea is so confident in his economy, he just builds a factory right over that metal spot. He's like, I don't need that. And he's discovered that. Looking at the army counts, just because it looks like the conflict is already on its way, you can see that Elodea has 18 mobile units, and Matisse has only 8. So Matisse is a little bit more on the couple extra fabbers, so a little bit more on the economy front. But the tanks are just moving right along from Elodea towards Matisse.
Yeah, these could do a really good bit of work and get in some early wins here against some fabricators. They could take out potentially all 3, because there's only AA in Matisse's base at the moment. No bombers, no tanks, no nothing. Only his commander is there. I think he's just moving that out now after having spied those tanks coming in. But something Matisse did have there for a time, it's gone now, I think it was killed off, was a skitter inside Elodea's base, getting a lot of good intel.
Yep.
But didn't see, unfortunately, the latest latest vehicle factory going up. So we did see a bot factory going up, which is now producing grenadiers, which is definitely going to be interesting against tanks and or static defenses.
Yeah, I feel like Elodea did kind of bait Matisse into building a lot of that anti-air with his early air and scouting, and then Matisse didn't have like the regular tanks, and so a little bit of an advantage here. Been able to put a big dent in Matisse's uh, metal production. However, if you look, Matisse is expanding so fast the other direction that he's actually kept up, even with this assault. Now, this is a really pretty good assault, and the commander is really having to work overtime here to deal with this mess. I think he's got it. He's got enough units down here at the south end to clean up those tanks, and then the commander obviously will do work on the top side and kind of stop the flow of damage. And the commander takes a moment to repair one of the tanks. Good micro on his part. Elodea doing a great job. Take out that fabricator. I'm going to go with nope.
They're not targeting it. There we go. There's the target. Yep. Must have just missed those while microing the next wave of units coming in. Starting to mix in some Infernos as well, so they'll be able to soak up a little bit more damage, get his units closer to the base before the damage gets laid on to the greater masses. And the Grenadiers mixed in there.
Yep. They're able to lob over. One of the things, they lob over walls, but they also lob over wreckage. So it's nice to have some Grenadiers in there to keep the DPS up while you are dealing with it. Now, looks like fighters have scattered around the back end and seen all that expansion and knows he's still got good economy. He's actually ahead in economy after all of that. So it looks pretty grim for him, but he is handling it pretty well. Arrival of Infernos looks a little unfortunate. However, Elodea has decided to go ahead and bunch up his units before pushing in again. Very wise move. Unless an Uber Cannon makes
the Uber Cannon has just been targeted. Wow, 7 units go down.
Yeah, that was a huge blow, and that could be the turn. You know, this Matisse guy, he's pretty good.
You don't say.
Meanwhile, on the other planet, they've got Orbital Factory, and Pink's just kind of spreading out and doing a fine job. Okay, back on the main planet, you can see the line between the two of them.
Ain't nobody got time for that Pink dude. But yeah, the commander moving forward, being really aggressive with his commander. He's pulling it back a little bit now, but he doesn't want to overstretch himself just a little bit too close to Elodea's base, who has got all of that queued up. Elodea now even getting a teleporter out, rather interestingly, without any orbital units, and now he's beginning to be harassed by the brown AI on the other side. This is really where that piggy in the middle situation comes into its own.
Saying that word. Keep going.
Sorry, would you like me to stop?
No, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Sorry, I've completely lost my
total control, that's the key. Anyway, brings a big wave of units over the base of Elodea, takes out a bunch of the fighters, actually gained a lot of control of the air there with that isolation, and I think things are looking pretty good for Matisse now that his economy is mysteriously twice as big as Elodea's, partially because Elodea lost some on the other side to the AI's harassment, but also because I think Matisse has just been super good about expanding. He's got guys almost halfway around the other side of the planet, slurping up those spawn points or those metal extracting points. And Matisse working on Orbital Factory. Now, last time, Matisse was not really that into the orbital game, so that was interesting. Now, somewhere there is a teleporter.
Elodea got a proxy teleport around the back, streaming units through. No fabricators yet, though. Those would probably be more useful as well, just to pop up a couple of factories. But all of these units now are going to start to worry Matisse a little bit, because he's going to have to split his forces. And if you divide, you tend to conquer. Yeah,
that's a really sweet move there. He'll be able to get like this 1, 2, 3 many metal extractors around the backside of the base, which represents a considerable portion of Matisse's vastly superior economy. So I think Matisse may want to get in there and punch him, but maybe he's just going to be patient. So the metal extractor loss has just been signaled on Matisse's screen, so he's going to be paying attention to that. He's going to know that that's in trouble. Don't see him moving his army over that way yet. A little bit of motion there. And he is splitting some forces in that direction, so that is a good move. And Elodea is really good here. He's moving off, looking for other metal spots. Now he may circle around here. As you can see, the path he's gone to each of these back metal extraction spots, and as he does, he's finding them empty. So he may or may not actually work his way down to the spot that Matisse is actually still expanding. It's hard to tell where he's going to end up going. Maybe, yeah, I see I'm going to go ahead and take the camera position of Elodie and see, does he find, like, nope, he finds another one, and thinks he's going to miss it. Really interesting that Matisse has that spot in the back that he skipped a set.
But he is starting to engage with Matisse's forces now in the back door of the base, where he's just managed to approach from now. Matisse sort of dividing his units a little bit, but he still has his main force with his commander out the front, plus he now has an Astraeus and an orbital fabricator. Here comes down an AI Astraeus in the middle of Matisse's base. What on earth is that doing? That needs to get shot down instantly before it just pokes him in the side, saying, "Oi, hello, can I have a
If
cup of
that
tea?"
fabricator just walks out, it'll be hilarious.
He's getting away.
A fabricator being picked up by an Astraeus by Matisse, not so concerned that he feels like he needs to like flee with his commander. Again, it's one of those situations where it looks like he's just totally surrounded and getting crushed, but he's finished off the forces at the back. The red
The
forces. AI has walked away, but he's going to run right into force here. This should spell the end of that AI.
Yeah,
And
plus
that
the
guy's
brown
gone.
commander is in orbit, flying away to a different location.
Yeah.
As
Speaking
is,
of,
yeah.
and there's an Astraeus by the pink AI going out to the other planet as well. So now the the brown commander is going to land on the pink planet, and he's going to be all alone. It may be one of those classic like land and be like, "Whoops, let me just jump out of here," depending on whether he lands in the middle of the base or not. Here he comes. He's actually right over, and
He's not out. He's out of range of the AA, which is really fortunate. But the AI does have Avengers there, so if he spots the Astraeus in the orbital layer, if it goes back up there, that is, then he'll be able to shoot it down. Plus, he also has interceptors and bombers there as well. So I think this might be a lost cause for this commander, who may end up getting trapped on this planet.
Yep, and now Elodie has actually surpassed Matisse finally in economy, and Matisse is struggling a little bit here. I think in part because the brown AI has shown up to also challenge him, and he's just finally lost all of his expansion spots, and his base is back to this shrinking state. This planet used to have a lot of forests on it, but it seems to have all burnt away.
Deforestation, it's a horrible thing.
It's
But
terrible.
all's fair in love and war. Meanwhile, the brown commander is under siege on the pink planet. He's built a teleporter, but he's less than half health as a result of the continuous bombing runs. Back on the main, Elodea still poking holes here, there, and everywhere in Matisse's base. He's still got his main force at range. He's not moved it in just yet. I suspect he's being a bit more conservative with that, especially given the commander and Matisse's main force are still relatively close to the front lines. Yeah. Anchor attempted to go up there by Matisse, but was shot down by an Avenger. So unfortunately, his
brown
defensive
AI
attempts...
on the verge of death here. Lots of bombers coming in. This could spell the end of him. And boom, there he goes. That is one fewer AIs in the game. That'll actually provide a great deal of relief for LOD, and at least some relief for Matisse. So Matisse, a little bit behind now. Actually, LOD has kind of lost a bunch of his expansion and is down slightly. They're actually pretty even. 114 metal per second for Matisse and 107 for just a moment. They both have exactly 107. Hilarious. But LOD behind because he's got half the power capacity and a huge force pushing in here into Matisse's base.
Yeah, he has got the teleporter there, so he is going to be able to get his commander off. I think he might be ditching this base because Elodea is still a little bit behind on the orbital, but he's done a really good job of maintaining his attacks on a couple of fronts there. So the commander does manage to flee through the teleporter. Unfortunately, Elodea, well, he has scouted the teleporter, but he doesn't know that the commander has literally just waltzed his way to temporary freedom. But unfortunately, Matisse is going to lose this base. He's not got many factories left producing units, and they're all even fleeing through the teleporter to assist him against the AI, who is on Lorska with him.
Yeah, on that planet with him, with a whole other planet to back his economy. Like that pink AI has 360 metal per second. He and a teleporter up on both those planets. He should be able to easily fight Matisse if he tries. Taking the AI's perspective for just a moment, we can see that he is totally unaware. Actually, he is aware that there is a anchor above that planet. So I don't know what conclusions the AI draws from that, but he will assign at least some threat to the idea that there is an anchor there. And we're looking at the remnants of Matiz's base. So we're in an interesting situation. Elodea he's going to be ahead. Like by the time he finishes killing this base, he's going to have quite a bit more energy. He's already got twice the energy of Matiz, and he's going to have quite a bit more metal. Matiz probably trying to get that established as quickly as possible on the other planet, and doing a pretty good job of it. But still, the chase will be on to get out there and harass them. And if Elodea does have a deep space radar, and he can see the satellites around this planet for Matiz, so he knows exactly where he's run off to. And similarly, if he looks at Marcel, he'll see all those. And in fact, he has an Avenger scouting that out. So he should be looking pretty soon. He actually leaves a little bit of economy behind for Matiz. Those 3 metal extractors out there helping him out. Mysteriously, Matiz already has 170 metal per second. I don't know how he does that.
It's because he's got... no, he hasn't got yet up his T2 factory, but I guess it's probably because he's just
got
using
tons of metal spots out here.
But more importantly, Elodea has an orbital fabricator on the way to Lorska, and it's even queued up a teleporter as well. Meanwhile, on the main planet, all of his units have moved ready to swamp through the teleporter as soon as it is connected. So once that teleporter goes up, it's going to be curtains for Matiz unless he can magic a force out of nowhere to deal with this. Or indeed, if Elodea can get out in Astreus just in case he needs to evac from the main planet. But Matiz seems to have stopped producing that T2 vehicle factory, which is beginning to decay.
That's too bad for him. I think he needs that in order to fight this force that Elodea is going to have. Some people feel that vanguards are quite good at fighting basic armies, and I think that turns out to be true. And Elodea has not actually reached the tier 2. The teleporter was open.
Already opening fire on Matiz's stuff. Matiz getting alerts about this, and he actually sees it in his vision range, calling the GG, knows he can't do anything about this. So I think we'll see Matiz out of this game very, very shortly indeed.
Yeah.
And there goes his comm in a self-determined delete key press, or control K, or however you do it.
Okay, Elodea is it's late where he is, I guess, and so he would like to stop now instead of finishing off the AI. He has done everything that was required of him to secure his spot in the brackets, so we're going to let him peace out on that, and I feel pretty confident actually that he could handle that.
Yeah.
And
all he needed to do was build a teleporter on the AI's planet and send a few units through.
Or just build a Halley.
Or build a Halley as well.
Like build a Halley would be super easy. So that he exits out of the game there. So we'll just take a look here to review the game, and we can see. Let's back up here a little bit, maybe to the 6 minute and 22 seconds. Looks like. Let me just scrub that over there. A little bit earlier than that. Okay, I'm at 6:16. So on the main planet, then we can see, that was kind of the moment that Elodea started to really crank up the pressure on Matiz. You can see the stream of units coming in. At that point in time, Matiz's mobile count was only 27, and Elodea had 40. Really applied a lot of pressure at that point, and forced Matiz actually to use a lot of his, commander to fight. But we jump ahead 3 minutes to about 9 minutes and 20 seconds, and you can see that here, Matisse is actually recovered. He's Elodea is still bringing another army, but Matisse has an already respond as well as his commander, and magically, Matisse has 200 metal per second versus Elodea has only 93. So it looks like he's economically winning, and he's got an army to back it. Um, even gets a bomber run off there and pushes him back. Elodie actually has like twice the mobile army that Matisse does at that point. Part of it's though taken up with this teleporter push on the other side, which really I think did help Elodie quite a bit. Like he ended up taking out a lot of economy there and just kind of boxing Matisse in. And then really after the around the 14-minute mark, we saw the brown AI out on the second planet. I think he went straight there. Let's jump that forward to about 14 and a half minutes. And that's when he finally loses his commander out here. So he had dropped in. I really feel like he should have, like the commander should have realized he was in trouble. But who understands the brain of an AI? Didn't have enough vision to figure that out. So later out on Laska 17-minute mark, you can see kind of like as I scrub forward, you can see Matisse was working on that base pretty well, and he really had kind of dug in by the 17-minute mark. He actually did a good job of bringing in a certain amount of army, was working on his advanced factory, actually quite a bit of economy by this point, but as we saw just a couple minutes later, we were able to bring in the army of Elodie and just take over at that point, and he just called the GG and deleted his commander. So really good game. That secures the spot there for Elodie for next week's final. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the game here.